Hey friends, happy Friday night. Word of warning, I've got 1 minute and 45 seconds before I have to go turn off my oven. So, in the meantime, what I am doing is sitting here starching some fabric for tonight's project. And I'm going to talk to you all about what it is I'm doing tonight. This is definitely a palette cleanser project, so you don't need very much to do this. Some fat quarters would be fine if you wanted to do it this way, or if you wanted to do, just grab a few different fabrics that you really like the way they look together. You could do this with me. And then one kind of like blender fabric to tie it all in. I am working with, I think it's 8 different half-yard cuts that I purchased as a bundle. And I'm bringing in some white fabric to kind of tie it all together. And I'm going to put it together a little bit like just a strip quilt. It's really, really easy to do. All of my fabric has been cut-ish. I'm starching it and then I'm going to subcut it down to the actual sizes I want to use. And I'll talk about all of that in just a minute. And I've got 30 seconds before I got to go turn off the oven. I have a loaf of bread in the oven right now. And I have gone and tried to pull it out numerous times. And every time I've gone in the kitchen and put the little thermometer thingy into the middle of the bread, it's the inside core temperature of the bread is reading accurately. It's registering like 192. And according to this recipe, the inside of your loaf should be somewhere between 190 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is great. But it still comes out a little, when I pull the thermometer out of the bread, it still comes out a little bit doughy. And so I keep doing another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. So I think altogether it's been in there for about 45 minutes now. I'm just going to turn off the oven and let it just sit. It's covered by aluminum, so it won't burn. I'm just going to turn off the oven and let the bread kind of sit in the warm oven for a while. And I'll deal with it later. So my timer's going off. Follow me, mic'd up and everything, to the kitchen. To the kitchen! Well, not really follow me because y'all are not coming into my kitchen. But I am going to turn it off. There we go. There we go. Beep, beep, beep. Everything's turned off. It smells amazing. So it's the honey bread recipe that my friend Janine shared with a bunch of us at retreat and is now on my website. But instead of putting, Bill's making pumpkin bread tonight. That's awesome. Instead of just doing all flour, I substituted in about 50 grams of oatmeal oats. So it's like a honey bread, but it's got some oats in there. And then I put some oats on top of the loaf as well. I'm eager to see how this works out. Hello. Oh, I need to change my project command because I am not working on long arming tonight. I'll get that fixed in a moment. Okay, so I'm going to be real with y'all and we're going to talk for a second, shall we? So the podcast episode that is dropping this week on Wednesday is about what do you do when you lose your muse. That's a theme or a saying, words. Ian said it when we were recording the podcast, lose your muse. And I was like, ooh, I like that. And I've kind of latched onto it. I have kind of lost my muse, and it's not because I don't want to create. I just am having a really hard time finding the right project to get into. And I know it's a culmination of different things for me right now. Part of it is I am worded out. So I work at a computer. I work in IT, project management and IT, and I am sitting in front of a computer reading and processing written instructions or typing them up all day for long hours every day. And then as a project manager, I am making decisions or advising or guiding. I'm part of a decision-making team. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm making all the choices. That's I don't mean it to come out that way, but I am part of a team that is making decisions and constantly thinking all day long. And so by the time I get to my free time in the evening, the last thing I want to do is read more instructions or make more decisions. And all of that is kind of coupled or further complicated by two other things that have to do with my long arm. First, I finally taken the plunge and purchased Pro Stitcher for my long arm, which I absolutely love. And that therein lies the problem. I'm loving my time on the long arm playing with Pro Stitcher. So if I'm in my room and I'm doing something, I actually want to be at the long arm. And it's been that way for about the past, I don't know, 5 weeks or so. It's, and I just I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm in front of the long arm. I'm not even really listening to music in here or even talking to friends as much as I would like to because the long arm is so loud. Although I have started learning that I can take my headphones over there so I can at least listen to something. I might not be able to talk, I might not be able to see what's going on, but I can at least feel connected to people in that way. But I want to be in front of the long arm. I want to finish the quilt, which leads me to the second problem that I have. I have finished so many quilts, like so many quilts over the past several weeks. I'm down to, I think, just 2 quilt tops left to be quilted. Yeah, 2 quilt tops left to be quilted. I have a pile of quilts that need to be bound, but I'm waiting for some specially ordered labels to arrive so that I can use those and put them on my quilts. But it kind of leaves me feeling like I've done everything already. Like I've done it all. I don't want to do something that I've already done or I've just finished. So it's leaving me feeling a little, I guess, accomplished, but also lack of a desire to do anything else. So the project that I decided I was going to work on tonight is actually inspired by Natalia. If you don't know who she is, she's a fabulous long arm quilter. I've been following her social media content for a while. She does free motion quilting. She teaches it. She shows it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I saw her do something that I was like, ooh, this would be a great practice piece for me to do. She took what looked like a jelly roll race or some other sort of strip quilt and used each of the strips of fabric to practice quilting motifs or border designs on the quilt within that strip of fabric. And immediately when I saw that, I thought, I could do that. I would do it with chunkier fabric so that it would have a thicker area, and it would allow me the opportunity to plop intentional designs into specific areas of the quilt. And so it's been in the back of my head to do for a little bit. So yes, I'm piecing with the intention of getting this done quickly so that I can take it right back over to the long arm. And so what I'm doing tonight is I'm taking these half-yard cuts that I bought and I'm cutting out 6.5-inch strips from each of them. I have 8 pieces all together and I'm starching the heck out of them because I want them to be nice and sized. Stiff, I guess is the right word. And then I'm going to cut from each of these 8 half-yard cuts that I have, I'm cutting 1 strip that is width of fabric that measures 6.5 inches. And then from a white fabric, it's actually a white blossom, so it's a tone on tone from Riley Blake. I'm cutting, it's 2 inches, but they're gonna finish at 1.5 inches, I think. I might make them a little bit smaller. So I've cut those down as well, and they're also width of fabric. And so I'm just gonna sew them together in like a great big giant strip set and see if I like the way that looks or not. Mary, will you fix the command, the project command for me, please? Oh, you already did. Never mind. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mary. A long arm sampler type quilt. Yes, Arlie, essentially like that. That's, except the sampler here is going to be edge to edge designs that are intended to go from left to right, which I could also use in border motifs or something else. My goal has been, now that I've gotten familiar with doing these edge to edge computer designs, I do want to get to the point where I'm plopping intentional designs into specific areas of a quilt top. But you have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you run. And so what I'm trying to do is create a sampler quilt that gives me sizes, or it gives me areas of the quilt to play in that are easy to play with before I start putting intricate piecing on the quilt and trying to navigate all of that. So yes, a sampler type of quilt is what I'm working on. That's a good way of putting it, Arlie. Thank you. I'm also grabbing my extra bottle of starch because that one's getting low and I need to refill it. So we're just switching this out. Do whatever you feel like and make your videos about whatever you're feeling like doing. It's fine with me. Thank you for the freedom, Linda. Ooh, boy, when you have a fresh bottle of starch, man, that comes out like, whew. Did you guys get a chance to go to Handmade by Ying's earlier? She was doing on her live stream. I think she had others on there with her. I didn't get a chance to check it, so I'll have to watch the replay. But she was doing the reveal of the Bargello sew-along that she had been doing for the past several weeks on Friday night. So if you guys haven't seen what those Bargellos look like, go over and check that out. I will try to remember to put a link to that video in the description box down below. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Jean from the Bay Area, or Custom Quilting, Brenda said, LOL. So I'm going to tell you, once I get all these ironed together, I'll show you what the fabric pull looks like. This is a curated bundle, and I did not think that these fabrics would have gone together until I saw them in the bundle, and I was like, oh wait, they kind of do work. So you're gonna get to see what this will look like. Hey, Andrea. I feel so much later than 8 o'clock now that it's getting darker sooner. Yeah, it's sad. It's getting dark very early. But just a few more weeks and then it'll start getting lighter out. I want to let you guys know the first Friday in December, December 6th, I think it is, I will not be live. I will be on a work trip out to Vegas, and I really don't want to go. I really don't want to go to Vegas that week. But it's a conference that work paid for, and it's already paid in full. So I kind of got to go. Kind of got to go. I will be back home on Saturday, December 7th. So I'm not going to even bother trying to do the live stream while I'm out there. It's just going to be too much for me. Oh, wow. Craft On and so forth says, Becca, I bought a Pro Stitcher Light for Moors. It will be here in a few weeks. Awesome. You're going to get so many quilts done with that Pro Stitcher. Any quilt shops in Vegas? Side quest. Teresa's asking in all caps, are you going to see Tiffany? Yes. Tiffany has been tracking this trip for months. She knows I'm coming. I feel like I've been ignoring her lately. We haven't really had a chance to connect in a couple of months. I feel like nothing more than like, hi, how are you? Okay, bye. So I'm kind of looking forward to being in Vegas. I think the plan is that she's going to come up to me And she's going to stay, probably not for the whole week because she might get a little bored since I do have work every day. But she's going to come up to me. We'll stay in Vegas together and we'll do some fun stuff. I don't know what that fun stuff is just yet. We got to figure all that out, but we will be spending some time together. I'm kind of excited about that because we haven't had a chance to have, we really haven't had a lot of time to catch up and do our own thing. We've both been busy. She's killing it on YouTube. I'm busy with the 9 to 5. A lot of things in my life, including my own YouTube channel, I feel like, have kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. So it'll be nice to catch up with her. I'm really excited. Will you be able to visit? So yeah. So a side quest of quilt shop hopping is definitely on the list. Whether or not the brothers are actually in town and at the store will remain to be seen. Last time I had a conference out in Vegas that I went to, I did stop at the So Yeah store, but the brothers apparently ran away from me because they were on the East Coast when I went to the West Coast. So we'll see. We'll see. If they're there, I'm sure I will see them. We'll say hi, maybe take a picture together. I don't know if there will be time to make any videos, but yeah, definitely stop in. There's a few quilt shops in the Vegas, Henderson, Nevada area that I like to see. Hey, Debbie. Speaking of, so yeah, the project that I'm doing tonight is actually a project that can be done with the Vegas strips that So Yeah sells. So if you don't know what the Vegas strips are, these are, I believe, 20 or 21 pieces of fabric that are cut at 6.5 inches by the width of the fabric. So not as many strips as you would get in a jelly roll, but the strips are wider. And that's kind of exactly, I decided to go with this cut of fabric because I felt like that was pretty versatile in that if you wanted to make this project without pulling your own fabric, curating your own bundle and prepping everything, if you just got a Vegas strip, you could do this with some of the strips in that Vegas pack, that Vegas strip pack, which by the way, I do have a Vegas strip pack sitting on my shelf that I could have worked with. The difficulty for me is I think I counted 21 pieces of fabric in that pre-cut bundle, and I only need about 8, maybe 9. I could probably do this with like 9 or 10 if I wanted to be a little bit longer. I wouldn't need all of those strips from that Vegas strip package, and I thought maybe I would save that package to be a different quilt, or if I like the way this turns out, then I can break that down and do that for a couple of other, maybe make 2 quilts out of it. Oh, Donna says, So Yeah's new fabric line came out yesterday. It's awesome. I'll have to check that out. I didn't see it. I don't see hardly anything, I feel like. Is it another iteration on Not Your Mama's Garden, or is it something different? Is it florals? Because that's what they did for the other 2. I'd love to see them come out with a batik line. Leanne says she went to Vegas 12 years ago for her birthday and a convention. Do you gamble at all? Not really. Oh, I can go visit Eric. That's true. But honestly, I think he's in... Oh, is he in Vegas? He is in Vegas, isn't he? I thought he was in Phoenix. I know he was gonna move to Phoenix and then ended up moving to Vegas, I think. So maybe we'll catch up with Eric too. Linda says, I just got home from work. When are you going to Vegas? I will be arriving in Vegas on December 1st. It's a Sunday. I will be there all week for a conference. If you're from Vegas, you look it up, you're already going to know. So I'll just go ahead and tell you I will be there for the Amazon Web Services Conference. It's an IT, cloud computing, AI type of conference. It runs Monday, December 2nd through Friday, December 6th. So I will be there all week. I fly in on Sunday, December 1st, and I fly out on Saturday, December 7th. Oh, their next line will be a batik line? Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that. Joyce says their line reminds her of Kaif. I feel like their past couple lines remind me a bit of Kaif. Interesting. There's marks showing up on my fabric after I starch it that weren't there before, and it looks like ink, but I'm pressing on a wool mat that doesn't have any ink on it, so I don't know where that came from. This piece that I'm pressing, I believe, is from Allison Glass. And it's this really pretty bright green. You can kind of see it a little bit in the camera. But it's got really cute little prints all over it drawn. They're like little sketches all drawn in white. It's fun. There's a thimble on it. I see an airplane. I see what looks like some strawberries, a turtle. Lots of fun things. I see a cupcake. Yeah, so I think somebody was asking me if I gamble at all. Not really. Really don't. Maybe I'll play a slot machine for a little bit, but I always end up, I look at gambling as just losing money. So if I am going to go play on a slot machine or something, I just look at it as though I am spending the money to play the game and I'm going to walk away with all the money being gone. The new line is Botanic Blast, similar to their other lines, but not obvious. Okay, I'll have to check it out. Is it released? Like, is it in stores now, or did they just announce it and it's not out yet? You guys, we are going to look in the Facebook group tonight. If you want to share photos of what you've worked on this week to the Facebook group, !Facebook will get you over there. And I'll pop in and share your projects for a little bit of sewing inspiration for the rest of us a bit later tonight. Two more pieces to press, and then we'll get to subcutting and putting this together. Carrie says, I would rather buy fabric than gamble. Oh, it's out last night. They had a live of selling it. Awesome. I bet they'll still have some on their website. I'm not a big Kaif fan. So their past couple of lines, while I think they're definitely going to hit the mark for Kaif fans, I'm not a big Kaif fan. So I'll be interested to see if this next bundle, this next line hits me the right way. I'm thinking that batik line will, though, so I'll have to keep my eyes peeled for that. I'm excited to see them do a batik line. And I would love if they actually do video content on what it looks like to put that batik line together, like how to design it, what it looked like to get it printed, all of the things. Like, oh, yes, please. Does Soya design their fabric or have it commissioned for them by an established designer? I don't know. I know their name is listed as the designer. I don't know if they draw it themselves like Tula Pink does, or if they work with an in-house designer to help guide the design. I don't know. That would be for them to answer. Love Loathingly says, I'm not a huge K fan, but I do like So Yes. I think this one is even more so with the smaller prints and no yellow in the line. Ooh, okay, I'm going to have to check that out. Because the first one, I was like, it's too K for me. The second one, I was on the fence with. But if this one is, this one might be in the right direction for me. I might have to grab a fat quarter bundle. Lori says they designed it and worked with Riley Blake. Oh, this is Riley Blake. That's who this line is with, is Riley Blake. That's awesome. I feel like that's pretty, like, that's, I don't know what to say. Like, I can't find the word. That's an accomplishment. Is my cup sewing themed? Yes and no. It is not. It is not sewing themed in that the fabric is not pieced. However, it is made by a lady. Her name is Krista. She runs a company called Grunge and Grace, and Ian can put a link to her Etsy shop in the chat if he doesn't mind. It is using the Roar fabric from Tula Pink. And get a Vegas strip of it. The flowers are beautiful. You know what? That's a great idea. That's a great idea, Darlene. I like that idea. Hey, Heather. She said that cup is Tula Roar themed. Yes, it is. I really like the Tula Pink Roar line. In fact, I had pulled out a layer cake of it earlier. I wasn't sure what I wanted. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And so I thought maybe I would work with that layer cake tonight. And I just decided, no, I'm not really feeling that either, because that's going to require looking at a pattern and reading instructions. And we've been over that. I'm worded out. I am decisioned out. It's just not going to happen for me. So this will be fun. And this is my last piece that I have to starch. Their new boutiques were designed by Raimi and called Expressions Boutique Plant-Based, and is supposed to be a very soft boutique. Oh, wow. Awesome. Kev Mirth, who is Mary, says a shop in Kansas City has their new line. Awesome. I have to check it out. Love Loathingly says, I bought a half-yard bundle last night of Botanical Blast. I was going to do the fat quarters, but I really like it. I'm really excited for their 108s coming out, but those are more cave-like prints. Ooh, they got some 108s coming. I love that. Look at them tearing up the quilting world. Get it, boys, get it. Hey, Tiff, we were just talking about you. People were asking if I was going to see you when I get to Vegas in a couple of weeks. I was like, yeah. And I'm kind of excited about that, because I feel like you and I haven't had really any time to catch up. We haven't really had any time to catch up lately. And it'll be nice to have some quality time to spend together. And Eric is in Vegas, so we'll have to find some time one evening to grab dinner with him too. I hope they didn't sell out, Donna. I'll have to go take a look. Mary, why are you doing exclamation grunge? Oh, love it. Mary, you're amazing. Grunge and Grace. She runs my chat bot for me so I don't have to worry about those commands. Isn't that awesome? Thank you so much for that. If you go to the Riley Blake site, they have the collections out there, including the batik line coming in April. I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to take it. Laura is asking, Becca, do you use Best Press to start or something else? I use Best Press. I use the Best Press. All right. So I bought from a fellow quilter who has an online shop and a YouTube channel. I bought this bundle of fabric, and I'm going to go to the 3-camera setup so that you can see what I've got here. I bought a fat quarter bundle of this to support her shop, and when she sent it to me, she actually sent me half yards, and I was like, well, wait a minute, that's not what I ordered. So I sent her a thank you. I was like, thank you so much for sending me the half yards, and they've been sitting on my shelf and I've not been sure what to do with them, and tonight is the night that we're going to break them out. And I do want to point out there are actually 2 Tula Pink cuts in here, so breaking into some Tula Pink. We've got a mixture of some Art Gallery Solids, some Allison Glass, and some Tula Pink, and whatever that is. These are half-yard cuts. So what I have done is from each of these, I cut a little bit more than a 6.5-inch strip because I knew I was going to starch it and subcut it down. And then I wanted a piece of fabric that was going to kind of blend with all of this and pull it all together. And so I pulled this Blossom white yardage. It's a tone on tone. I have a bolt of it that I've been working on for the past couple of years. I pulled this off of my shelf and I cut from this around 2.25 inches because I was going to starch those and subcut that down too. So these are the fabrics that I'm working with. This is the fabric that has been starched. And so now that it's starched, it's with the fabric, I'm going to fold it so that I have no hanging twist or curves. And then I'm going to fold it again, and I'm going to cut this down so that it's 6.5 inches wide. There's one side. Now we're going to do the other side. Just like that. Then once it's nice and clean, I'm just going to fold it and set it up here. I'm not going to worry about cutting off the selvages just yet because I'm going to probably have to square up the sides when it's all put together, so I'll worry about that later. I just want to make sure that these are exactly 6.5 inches wide. So I'm going to fold them and cut them to 6.5 inches. Hello, Lori. Hi, Shelly. I am cutting out 6.5-inch strips of fabric, 6.5 inches by width of fabric. I'm going to make a giant strip set that I can use to make essentially a long arm sampler. It looks like it might be. There we go. Katie with an E says, wow, good evening. Finally caught alive again. Awesome. I like this. This one's pretty. Susan says, I am hoping that am hoping that finally opening my Juki box so that I can use it will get me out of my funk. I had a slight lifting when I got caught up with Wild West clues, but the Bernina kept breaking thread. Oh, I hope playing with the Juki gets you inspired to do something. I hate to be stupid, but what is a long arm sampler? You're not stupid, Donna. So what this essentially is going to be is a quilt that's going to allow me to do different stitches in each section of fabric. You can accomplish this with a few different things. You could cut up a bunch of squares that are all about the same size or even different sizes and put them together and use that to stitch out different designs in each of the blocks. For me, I am making these long rectangular pieces of fabric that I'm going to stitch in. And so when I say a long arm sampler, what that basically means is it's just some fabric that is going together, and the whole purpose of it is for me to put different stitches into different areas of the fabric. Vicky says, this is my therapy, watching my quilting peeps. Got a lot to go through, but watching you helps so very much. Awesome. I'm glad that helps. All right. Where's my trash can? There it is. All right, so now all of my colors are cut, and I have, oh, nope, I have one more. I have to do this green, so we'll do this. Brenda says, my quilting buddies give me ideas and inspiration. Darlene says, I made a long arm ruler sampler, and it's a great go-to. Sometimes having the stitches listed, just like the pictures or the PDFs, is great, but you want to see how it actually stitches out. And I don't think you can always get a good reference for it until it's stitched out. Oh no, Lori says flu and the C word 7 times this year. I'm on disability, but all of you help me seek. I see at least once a week on Friday nights. I think I'm going to cut this at 1.5 inch, and that's going to have it finish at 1 inch, which is just going to be a very narrow strip of white in between the colors. You know I'm wasting a bit of fabric here. Tiffany, don't look. Seek Sojo, not Seek, Sojo. We help Lori with her Sojo. Awesome. Valentina says, if you want to see Soya's new fabric line, just go watch the replay. In the first 15 minutes, they show the fabric line. Awesome. Probably do that. So I have 8 fabrics that I've pulled, and I have cut 7 of these strips. 7 of the white strips, because the white's going to go in between the colors. Just got Pro Stitcher, Brian says. Kind of overwhelmed. What do you recommend for learning? Any specific lessons or activities? My first advice is going to be go and watch all of the short 5-minute or less videos that Handy Quilter has on their YouTube channel. I have learned so much just by watching those quick videos. They take one topic and show you up close and personal exactly how to do it. Then my next thing is going to be, after you've understood what they've said, try it yourself. Now keep in mind, when you step in and start playing with the Pro Stitcher, you're going to make mistakes. So if you've got, I'll say, a throwaway quilt or a charity quilt that you just need to practice on, I would not load your best quilt first. I would load either just fabric that you don't care about or a quilt top that you don't care about, and practice going edge to edge designs only, just to get you used to how to load the long arm and plugging in the design and keeping things lined up. I will also tell you that Adam's So Fun has a lot of really good video tutorials as well. And they take you to the machine and show you the software so you can actually see what's going on. Those were my go-tos. Hey, Josh. I do want to show you, since we're talking about quilting, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat, because not everybody can afford a long arm. Let's be real. Not everybody can afford a long arm, but some of us still want to do the quilting. We want to do sit-down quilting. We want a mid-arm machine, or we just want to be able to free motion quilt on our domestic. And I have a product that's actually hanging in the other room that I don't believe I've ever shown anybody on a live stream or on a video, that I would recommend if you're just trying to increase your free motion skills, like that muscle memory that you need. Let me grab it and show you what I've got, because you might want to check this out. It's called, I think, Free Motion Mastery in a Month or something like that. I got this from the expo, the Quilting Expo, a few years ago. And I never used it, but I did loan it to my friend Mary, and she wanted to look at it to see if it was an item she wanted to purchase. So let me show you what you get. You get this tote bag, and it says Free Motion Mastery in a Month. And inside, what's this? Oh, this must have been a project they gave me when I bought it. I didn't even know that was in there. But here's how the system works. You've got a notebook and these practice sheets, and then you've got this ruler and a dry erase and another pen. So I've not done this in a very long time, but the goal is, and I'm not going to go through everything in here because that would be giving it away, but you have this ruler and it's got a little dot right here. And so you can use this on your long arm. It's a long arm ruler, but also you have these laminated sheets and the ruler just kind of glides over this really easily. So you can practice drawing the stitches in the workbook or on a piece of paper, but also to get you the feel of moving the fabric around, you can bring this over here and line that dot up with a line. And let's just say we want to do this ribbon candy. We want to practice the muscle memory for ribbon candy. We put that dot on the black line, and I'll see if I can zoom in a bit more for you. Let me zoom all the way in and bring you over. So you can, this is as close as I can get, but this is how it works. You just practice the motion of moving it around. And the goal here is that you are staying close to being on that line without going off and without stopping. So this kind of gets you used to what it's going to feel like and helps you build up your muscle memory. Ribbon candy is a little bit of an easier one for me because this is one of the things that I doodle in the margins of all of my papers. But if I wanted to do something a little bit more intricate like this, oh gosh, I don't even know, like I could go in and you just kind of go around and then you go this way. This one, I don't know how it's supposed to go, but it goes like that. But a lot of them will have numbers and it'll tell you this is 1, this is 2, then up to 3, 4. So you can do the same thing over here. So if I wanted to do the rope, I could go down 1, hit here, go down 2, over, up 3, over to 4, up 5, down 6, and then repeat. Down 1, down 2, up to 3, up to 4. You get the picture. It's like this. Now I will tell you, trying to make sure, these are all the different laminated sheets that you get. There's a lot here, but there's also a workbook that takes you through all of this and a daily sketchbook that you can draw in with paper and pen. But you also have streaming video classes that you can grab. So there's a code under here that I don't want to share with you because that would give it away. But if you go to freemotionmasteryinamonth.com, there are the video classes that come with this entire kit. So if free motion quilting is something that you want to get into, this will help you. And the skills, the muscle memory does translate to the long arm. I just had no desire to do this, but I do have the kit and maybe it'll be the right fit for you. Why is everybody coming here for bread? And why do you, oh, because I talked about the oatmeal bread. Y'all are coming because I made oatmeal honey bread. You guys are crazy. Yeah, next thing you know, Ian's gonna be walking in the door. Where's my bread? I think he's probably the closest one to me right now. Yep, I took it out of the oven at the top of the show. In fact, I actually just turned, I'm taking a step away. I don't know if you guys can still hear me as I'm going into the, oh, hi puppies, you're up. Oh, hi Zoe. My bread is in the oven and I'm pulling it out now. Hey, I made more bread. gotta go. I'll talk to you later. It's looked like it sunk a little bit, but it's sitting on top of the oven. Now I was gonna bring it in here, but my daughter was sitting out there and she, yeah, anyway. Where is the recipe for the honey bread? On my website, under About, there's a line item for Bake with Becca. She had her hands full. She had her saxophone in one hand and her book in another. It was funny. It was funny. So I pulled the bread out of the oven and set it on top of the oven. I had just turned it off earlier because I just wanted it to sit in the container. So when my husband gets home tonight, I am hoping that he will, if he gets home before my live stream's over, that he'll pull it out of that bread container, that bread pan, and put it on the wire rack so it can cool. And I also know that he's probably going to cut into that and enjoy a slice, as I'm sure everybody in my house will. So good for them. All right, we've got all of our fabric cut. Our next most important thing is to figure out the layout of the fabric. So I'm going to kind of put all these out here, and we're just going to see, we're going to kind of audition them to see what order we want the fabric to go in. I know I don't want to do the thing where all the colors are going like next to each other. I want to break it up. So immediately I know that's not going to work. And these two aren't going to work. And this isn't going to work. So I might do something like this. Like that. Here. Actually, let's go here, here. And maybe here. What do we think of that palette? This is where we're going to have each of you kind of pay a little help design how the fabrics are laid out. So let me know if there's anything that you feel like you would change. Don't forget that in between each one of these, we're going to be doing a small, narrow strip of white. So I'll just kind of show you what that looks like by putting them in the spaces in between each fabric. So the colors aren't actually going to touch. They're going to touch the white. The white's going to separate it. I'm too close. You need me to zoom out? Is that what you're asking? Like this? This is about where I have the camera. You guys like the layout? You'd put the navy in the middle. So this isn't navy, it's actually green. But if we do that, then we just need to move this up. So 1, 2, 3 at the bottom, 1, 2, 3 at the top. There's 8 colors, so it's not going to be dead center. But it can be in the middle-ish. But it's not a... It's not an odd number. So if you're looking to have a dead center with that dark, it's not going to happen. Better? Should we switch the pink and put it at the top? I wonder if we could do like mirror image. I'm going to take the whites out because these are just kind of getting in the way. We will separate by white, but I'm wondering if we could do pink, yellow, yellow, green, something like that maybe. and alternate the solids with the prints. And now there's a little bit of symmetry going. Thoughts on this new dark green toward an end for symmetry, however you spell that, autocorrect not helping. Take one of the yellows out. Pink to light green, yellow to dark green. I'm not sure what that means. But I think everybody seems to like this layout. All right, we're going to do it this way. So, Brian said, fabulous. All right. We're going to lay them out in the order that I want them to be, with the bottom being on the bottom of the pile and the top being on the top of the pile. And so what we're going to do is sew each one of these to a white strip and then add in the next color. Okay. I like how Leanne says, do you like the layout? Well, that is the question, isn't it? I don't want to take a fabric out of the lineup because I know that once all of these are sewn together, the quilt's going to be relatively small. And I don't want it to be, if I take a strip out, then I'm losing 6.5 inches off of the length of the quilt. And I don't want it to be wider than it is longer. So and I want to challenge myself to put all of the fabrics that were in this bundle into one quilt. And I think with the white in between each of these strips, we're going to have a different look than what I showed you. Plus we'll have bigger chunks of the fabric too. Oh, okay. Ian just sent me pictures of his continuum quilt. I was like, why are you texting that to me? And I know it's for the podcast. All right, I need a leader and ender. Becca, will you change thread colors for each strip set? Yeah, maybe. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. That would be fun. I want this to be custom quilted looking. So, yeah, maybe. Londa Rogers says, Miss Ruby is sounding good. Thank you. I'm going to take the time to press this underneath the print, not the white fabric. I don't need my ruler anymore, so we're going to put this away. Why is yellow in the doghouse tonight? Carrie wants to know. What kind of loft? Bamboo batting? I was thinking probably I'll be using my bamboo. But right now all I have are bamboo and wool. So it would be one or the other. I don't know. I think it just depends on what my goal is for this. Like if I want, I might double up on the bamboo actually. I don't know. I don't know. TBD. It'll either be bamboo or wool unless I make a decision to go buy some more. Ah! Come on now. There we go. This is going to be really good practice for doing borders, kind of. Yeah, that white does an awesome job. I like that. You'll have to see this once I get this handed over. Deb's Quilting Studio says, I've got 80/20 topped with wool on my long arm right now. Ooh, that's a good idea. Deb, does that give you a lot of extra loft and puff in your quilting? The 80/20 combined with wool? I don't know, Brian, if doubling up would create more depth. I would guess it would, but bamboo is pretty low loft. So I think the wool would for sure, but I've heard a lot of really good things about 80/20. So maybe a trip up to Joann's to get some 80/20 would be fun. Doubling up on it will definitely add more depth to the quilting. I mean, the hero of this quilt isn't going to be the piecing, right? It is going to be the quilting. That's what we want to shine. 25% off Joann's battings? Don't mind if I do. I love fluffy quilts, so I double up on the poly, Suzanne says. Oh, hi, Debbie. Debbie Dunn. I know you. Try to remember that. Debbie drove over and met Bob today, Bill says. Awesome. And all interfacing is stabilizers, 50% off plus buy 3, get 3 on thread. Cotton and poly, best time to stock up on SF101. That's usually what I do. I wait until they have that 50% off sale and then I go buy it by the bolt. Ooh, muslin's on sale as well, Trina says. She bought a whole bolt of it. Misty says, you're lucky if you can get the bolt in the store. Mine won't do that. They have to have it shipped. Oh. Oh no. Vicky says, my Blue Jay Legit kit got lost in the mail, so now I'm waiting on a replacement. I was going to work on it with Donna. Well, you might still have time. I think Donna from Handmade by Ying is going to be doing the mini Blue Jay Legit kit. I don't know if she's going to do it on live streams. But if you guys are in for a small Legit kit project, go check out her channel. I think exclamation Ying in the chat will get you a link over there. Hey, Eric. Oh, wait, we got a... Hey, Becky. Shelly Flannery says, hey, everyone, I just got home after a lovely dinner out with my son. Ooh, yum. Where'd you go? Susan, you're out. Thank you for joining the Perks program on YouTube. I appreciate you. Becky, are you all done traveling now? I feel like every time I caught one of your lives, you were either at a retreat or at Quilt Fest or at Quilt Market or at an RV site somewhere. And maybe I'm making some of that up. I don't remember. It just felt like you were traveling the world for a minute. Mary, if you could drop Power Tools with Threads, their YouTube channel in the chat. Not that anybody here doesn't already follow Becky and her amazing channel, but in case they don't. You're getting close to that 100,000 mark, aren't you? Like you should be getting that plaque any time now. She said, OMG, I'm so happy to be home for a couple of weeks. Well, I just made a boo-boo, but no one's going to know. I think it's a toss. Okay, it's a toss. I thought it was directional, and then I started seeing some spots that were upside down. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, no. It's okay. It's okay. This print is, this side can be up or this side can be up, but not this side. It's weird. I don't know what you call that. Like semi-directional, maybe? Oh, do you guys see hanging behind me? My unicorn quilt is hanging up. I quilted it and then bound it and hand stitched down the sleeve on the back, the label on the back, and the binding to the back. And I enjoyed every second of it. I took it with me to my allergy shots. So I just finished my allergy cluster shots. And the way that works, for those of you that don't know, is you go to your allergist and you're there for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how quickly they can call you back. So they call you back and they give you 2 shots in the arm and you wait 15 minutes. And then you go back and get 2 more shots in your arm and you wait 15 more minutes. And then you go back and get 2 more shots in your arm. And then you wait an hour. And then after that hour is up, you're free to go. They're just waiting to make sure you don't have a reaction. So you're sitting there for an hour and a half. You can't really do anything else. So the first few times that I went, I just brought games on my phone to play. And then I got the long arm and I was like, you know what? I'm going to work on binding. So I had a couple of mini quilts and I started taking them with me to the allergist office. And as I was sitting in the waiting room in between shots, I just started hand sewing the bindings down to the back. And I'm not great at it. I'm not perfect. I still need a bit of practice, but it doesn't intimidate me anymore. When I first started, I had to use really chunky thread. I was using a 12 weight thread to put it on the back because it's what I could see. But now I'm at the point where I'm doing it with, it's either 50, I think it's 50 weight, but it might even be Daco Bob, but I think it's just 50 weight. And I'm not having a hard time with that at all. You can see the stitches in some places, but it's secured and you cannot see it from the front. I was really good about that. So I'm quite pleased. But this one took me 2 allergy sessions to do the binding and the sleeve. And so 2 weeks worth of hand sewing, right? Because I did it only at the appointments. So last week when I was there getting my shots, these ladies walked in and they saw me working on it. And they didn't say anything, but I could tell that I had caught their attention and they were looking. And then this week I was finishing it and I was on the last, I had finished a side and I was getting ready to rotate. I even stitched down the corners of the binding on the back. So like I went up and stitched down the corners. Anyway, as I had rotated it 90 degrees and was preparing to do the other one, these 2 ladies were sitting in the office. They were like, hold it up, hold it up. I was like, oh, okay, here you go. So that was kind of fun. Oh, Deb says, glucose test was the same way when I was pregnant with my son. I thought I'd never get out of there. I had to do one of those when I was pregnant with Zoe. I did the first test at the one where they make you wait an hour, and I failed it. But maybe that was partially my fault because the night before, like right before I was supposed to start fasting, I had a big old bowl of cinnamon toast crunch, like probably 2 bowls worth of it right before I went to bed. So I failed the glucose test the next morning, and the doctor was like, "Yeah, we want you to go back and do the 3-hour test." Maybe what I ate had nothing to do with it. So I had to go back and do the 3-hour test. I will tell you that was the most miserable experience of my life. Worse than the allergy shots because I couldn't eat after a certain point, and I was at the point in my pregnancy where I couldn't eat enough. I was hungry nonstop. So I show up. My test is supposed to be for 7 a.m. right when they open. They didn't call me back till like 8:30. Okay. By the time I got out of there, because it's a 3-hour test, it was 1 o'clock. I was so doggone hungry, I was shaking. It was bad. Like I was crashing. But I didn't fail that sugar test. Yeah, that was miserable. I remember that. Oh, so nice. You made their day, Becca. They made my day by oohing and ahhing over the unicorn. I was like, oh. I didn't, and I didn't even ask them. I didn't even say, oh, are you quilters or do you sew? Didn't even ask. And I should have. I totally should have. The nurse practitioner that gives me my shots, she's come out in the waiting room a couple of times and she's been like, is that for me? Is that one for me? Is that one for me? So I'm kind of like, what do you guys think? If I made a mini quilt and gave it to her like at my next appointment, do you think that would be appropriate or is that not allowed? Or do you think she was just being kind? I don't know. I never know like if people are just saying that to be funny or if they really want something. Made by Misty says that unicorn is adorable. Thanks. Tiffany and I did that unicorn on a live stream. Spoiler alert, she did 4 of them. I did 1. I always had intentions of going back and doing more and putting it into a quilt. It just never happened. I just was like, nah, it's been sitting here all by its little lonesome for far too long. So we're just going to quilt it. And I'm happy I did. Oh, Jean says, while pregnant, I had to drink ginger ale all the time to offset my nausea. I used to keep saltines on my bedside, and yeah, I did the ginger ale too. Barbara says, I think she would love it. Suzanne says, I bet she would love it. Dale says she would probably love it. Oh, really? Teresa says, Mama Pop gave her surgeon a bag so you can make one. You can make something too. Maybe I will. Oh, a mug rug? That's a great idea. Actually, that'd be really cute because they line up all the little vials of everybody's shot medication on the counter right where she stands and she keeps all their stuff. So I could I can make her a little set of 4x6 or 5x7 mug rugs that she could set the vials on. I remember when you and Tiffany each made the unicorn, you inspired me to get some of the background fabric for that you used for my unicorn for when I make it. Becca Deb, has the doctor ever done the quickie test right there in the office for you? Mine does that now, so I only have to go in 2 times a year for blood work. I'm not sure. I get blood work done every year with my physical, and I've never had an issue. Like, everything's good. I think for a little while, when I wasn't paying attention to diet and I was just eating whatever I wanted and putting on a little bit of weight, my blood sugar got it up to 6.1 and the doctor was like, you need to start watching your sugar intake. But my sugar, honestly, it was my own doing because every day I was going downstairs to the coffee place, the little cafeteria at my work, and I was getting a large latte, not sugar-free, just a large latte, and I was also getting a muffin every morning, and then throughout the day, I would browse everybody's candy dishes. Like, I was eating a lot of sugar. So the fact that it was 6.1 was probably a miracle. Now I don't eat as much sugar, and the carbs I kind of watch a bit too. Not that I have see ya, Josh, not that I have a medical reason to do that. It's just don't have a desire to eat those things as much anymore. Oh, make a wall hanging with a big needle on it. I like that, Teresa. Although I might want to keep that for me. Oh, you mean a wall hanging with like a big syringe? Looking for shots. Got it. I got it now. Am I a diabetic? Nope, I'm not. But I also don't want to be a diabetic. My mom is diabetic. She's only been diagnosed in the past few years, I think. Actually, I don't know how long she's been a diabetic. My mom is a diabetic. My dad was a diabetic. None of my siblings are. I am not. I don't want to be. So I'm just trying to curb my carbs and sugar intake so that I don't end up like they were. Pat says Angela Walters has a free video starting in January on swirls, both on a sit down and a long arm, and she's having a sign up right now. Great, you guys go check that out. Yes, Trina, carbs are harder to give up than sugar. You are right. But once you get used to not having them as much, I feel like they don't have as much of a control. Yes, A1C, 6.1, that's what it was. That's what I think they said it was. Whatever blood test they did, they wanted it at 5.5 or below or 5.7 or below, and I was at 6.1. M. Smith says, I made your live. Hope everyone is doing well. Hello, welcome to the live stream. Don't forget, guys, if you have a YouTube channel and you want to promote it, if you do exclamation selfie in the chat, the Quilty bot, which is just my chat bot, will drop a link to your channel for people to check out. Eric says, don't do it, Becca. Don't go over the edge and become diabetic. It's torture to not eat carbs. Yeah, Ian's diabetic, and I don't want, like, not that like he goes around complaining about not being able to eat carbs. I feel like he eats very sensibly, but I know a lot of adults who have been diabetic or are diabetic, and I just don't want to have to go through that struggle. I mean, with my genetics, I will probably end up at some point in life with the diabetic diagnosis, especially if I can't lose a good deal of weight. So I know it's probably in my future at some point, but I can make some changes now that push that off as much as possible, right? Yes, it was a fasted test, Brenda. But it was also several years ago. It's not anytime recent. Sherry, do exclamation selfie all together with no spaces. Vicky, email me at becca@sobecca.com and I'll try to find that email for you. Misty says, I had no problem giving up carbs. It's my York peppermint patty after dinner that's a killer. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, Vicky. She says her husband is a diabetic on dialysis and waiting for a kidney. Oh, wow, Mary. I'm so proud of you. Mary said she just signed up for a weight loss program to avoid her pre-diabetes turning into diabetes. Good for you, lady. I can't wait to hear all about that when you get here. Sandy says, I had to go back in for another month's stay at MMB. All the workers are still, I'm not even sure what you're talking about. Debbie Williams says, hey, Becky from Power Tools with Red. Long time since I chatted with you this morning. Are you going to quilt in the white areas or leave them? I haven't decided yet, Brian. I'm thinking maybe I'll quilt in them. I think that would be kind of fun, but I think it also depends on how I'm feeling once I get it to the long arm. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to leave that puffy and flatten these down. I'm not sure. Guess you'll have to stay tuned to find out. Susan says, I know that I should lose some weight, but dang it, it's harder the older I get. Yeah, I've heard that. I hear you there. And Brian says, the anticipation! Sorry. You know, if all you were going to do is just make these strips and you didn't want to do any fun free motion quilting on this, you could absolutely make this a quilt as you go project. You could. You could. No worries, Sandy. She said, sorry about the spelling errors. I have hand tremors. No worries. Isn't it amazing, like, as we're starting to see this come together, and you'll see it in just a couple minutes. I only have a few more pieces to put on here. It's amazing how, as this is starting to come together, that little narrow strip of white is breaking up the quilt and adding a bit of uniformity to it so that it's got something other than just a bunch of random colors that do, I feel like, go together. It's tying it all together. Blending, bringing it all together, that white. Now, I'm not sure once I get these strips sewn together into the center of the quilt top, if this is going to be done for me and it's going to be ready to go to the long arm, because I'm not sure if I'll want to do some borders on this or not. So we'll have to see. Once it's all put together, then we'll stop and take a look at it together and decide if it needs a little something extra in the borders. Brian says the color combination is beautiful. I can't take credit for the color combination. This was a curated bundle that I bought, but I do agree. These are not colors I would have ever thought to put together. They are definitely not fabrics I would have ever combined. They are probably, for the most part, most of these are probably not even fabrics I would have bought on their own. But together, they just work. Not that I'm aware of. Sorry to be a party pooper, Becca, but are you hitting your mic? I don't think I was. Let me know if that's better. It might have been hitting my shirt. Not intentionally. I just moved it to the sleeve on my apron so that maybe it'll be a little bit better. Tell me if that's better. Thanks, Janice. Trina says it reminds me of the beach. Debbie Williams says it sounds better. So did Nancy. Thank you guys. Everybody's saying it sounds better. Thanks for letting me know. I'll make sure to put it up there more in the future. Mary says, my doctors actually thought I was anemic as a child, but once I hit 30, my belly and my butt just continued to grow. Oh, Mary. That white strip is doing a lot for this, isn't it? Ooh, Becky B is going to have a birthday in 10 days. She's going to be 68. Happy early birthday, Becky. There we go. One more strip of white, and then the last color, which is that pink, and we'll be able to see what this quilt top looks like and determine if it needs something else. My guess is it probably will. Mary, Could you start a raffle for me, please, for a mystery project? Your strips look longer than 44 inches. Did you cut cross grain? I'm not sure what you mean by cross grain, but I cut selvage to selvage. Some of the pieces are, they're not all from the same fabric line. I didn't cut off the selvages. I'll clean it up after I have it all put together. Brian says, Becca, do you have an affiliate link for the batting you use? The closest I could offer you is my Fat Quarter Shop affiliate link or my Amazon affiliate link, which, by the way, all of my affiliate links are on the bottom of my website at sobecca.com. You can check them out there. And I want to let you know, as you're entering into this holiday season, any shopping you do online, if you go to Amazon, anything you buy, if you use my Amazon link, I do earn commission for anything you buy. It doesn't have to be just quilting and crafting related. So if you're going to do some shopping on Amazon, you could help me out a bit by using that link. The batting that I use is Quilter's Dream. I usually use bamboo. Hey, Kathy. Lenore, I like your name, Needle Riot. That's great. It's exclamation giveaway to get a ticket into a mystery giveaway for tonight. Mary, will you let me know if you have a mystery item already ready to go that you can mail out? If not, I've got plenty here that I can mail out tomorrow. So we'll figure out whether it's coming from you or coming from me. Just let me know. You'll probably have to text it me because the chat's going crazy. All right, that's the last stitch. We're going to press this and then see how it looks. Don't forget to get your ticket for the giveaway. It's just exclamation giveaway, no spaces, on a line, all by itself with nothing else. All right, so it looks like we'll do 2 mystery giveaways tonight, if that's okay with Mary. We'll let this one run out, and then when it's done, we'll do a second one, and 2 people will walk away with mystery items. And by the way, I think until the new year, we're going to do a mystery giveaway on every live stream. Got it, Mary? Help me with that, okay? I think we've got enough stuff that we can spoil all of you. At least one of you can get a giveaway item every live stream through the rest of the year. All right, let's see what this looks like. I'm going to hang it up, and then I'll change my camera so that we can all enjoy this together. Oh, I like those white stripes in there. That's great. Check this out. Let me go to this camera. Oh, I'm so sad because, oh, there it goes. Nope, you can see the whole thing. Let me move my table out of the way though. Look at that. That white stripe really does a nice job of bringing it all together, doesn't it? Debbie, it's just exclamation giveaway. I'm looking at the quilt in the camera and just admiring the work, because sometimes you can't see what it looks like until you see it in person. Or you can see it one way in person and then through the lens of the camera it looks completely different. I like it. Now you'll notice that my side over here is a little staggered and over there it's kind of lined up. So before I do anything else, I will need to straighten out the edges on this. And so what I'll do is fold it so that the bottom edge is lined up with the top, just like I would if I were trimming or cutting strips of fabric from yardage. And I'll clean up both of those edges. But I feel like this isn't quite big enough, right? I could carry that white to the top and the bottom and the sides so that I have an inner border, and then I could do another border, but I don't know if I want it to be those fabrics. What are your thoughts? Nice balance with the pink on the outside, Shelby. I agree. Not quite sure what to do next. Oh goodness, why am I yawning? Why am I tired? I mean, it would be a good crib quilt. I have also realized that these smaller quilts like this are awesome lap quilts, but even more than that, they're great wheelchair quilts because they don't get caught up in the wheel. They're just big enough that they can sit on your legs when you're in a wheelchair, and it can kind of cover your stomach too. You don't need a great, like this small, like 40 by 48, something like that. It's a great wheelchair sized quilt. Do the white for the first border. Love your straight stitch machine. Me too, Becky. Me too. Maybe a border with a darker fabric. After white, maybe pink or black. Black could be an option. Black could be an option. A white small border. Christina says a 1.5 inch white border, 2 in the one below the teal, and then 2 in the teal. So the struggle with that is I only had, good for working from the office too. Yeah, that's a good idea. I only had a half yard of each of these fabrics. and I've already cut off about, let's just say 7 inches. So I probably only have 11 inches by width of fabric left. So whatever I do, if I'm going to reuse the fabrics that are already there, that's what I have left to work with. Yeah. Barbara says, I think it needs a border. Can use a darker color like the dark green. You know, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Vonnie Mac 78 says 6.5-inch border on each side, narrow with the top and the bottom. I agree. So I think the same size, I cut it 1.5 inches, so it would be 1 inch finished. I think a 1 inch finished inner white border is appropriate. But I really like the idea of pulling out that dark color, because if you look at it, the bright greens, there's 2 of them. The yellows, there's 3 of them. There's 2 of the pinks, but there's only that one in the middle. And so if I could get something that is close to this in color, maybe not the solid, maybe not the same solid, but if I got something close to that in color for the outside, that'd be fun. And I'll go look and see if we can find something in a minute. Jackie says, why do you prefer bamboo batting? I just really like the drape that it gives. I used to always use cotton, and then I tried the bamboo, and I liked how light and, I don't know, I just liked the way it draped. It just felt like it fluffed a little bit more with, yeah. To the left of the cut, 10 inches down, wait, I didn't hear, hold on. What would you say? What did you say? Oh, a piano keyboarder. Well, don't you think that the piano keyboarder would distract from this? Because these are stripes, that's essentially a piano key, right? A small inner white border, then a big outer border that is black to make the colors pop. I do like that idea too. Cheryl was saying to the left of cut, 10 inches down, and then add a white strip in between. Not sure. Okay. I do like the piano key, but not for this, I think. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take that piece of solid. I'm going to get up and walk over to my shelf, and I'm going to see if I can find on my shelf a fabric that is close to this, maybe with a fun print that could be a border. And I think I might have something that would, oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty doggone close. That would be an option. This could be an option. Okay, what else do I have here that might, ooh, that could, no, I don't like that with this. But I have 2 right away that I'm like, okay, one of these 2, oh, tripping over stuff. I think we have 2 options. We're going to let you decide. Option 1 or option 2. For reference, this is the green that's in the middle of the quilt. And let's see if we can set up, just arrange the fabrics in the order that they are behind me, just so you can kind of see them. We have that, and then this, 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 and then this. Okay, so let's go to the overhead. These are the fabrics that are in the quilt behind me. Now, if we're going to do a thin inner border to take that white out, this is how we're going to have that distance in between, right? We have option 1. Actually, hold on, let's do it this way. So, bring that out. Trying to give you a decent audition. All right, so this is option 1. This is option 2. I know which one I'm leaning towards. Shirley Kendall, you are our winner. So make sure that you reply in the chat so that you can get it. Lots of people are saying option 2. That's the one I was thinking of, because look at that. How doggone, what? This was, what? All right, now let me give you one more option. So option 2, because you always got to double check. This is how we know that option 2 is going to be the option. Let me give you one more option and see if we still love option 2. I'm just looking for something that might throw you for a loop. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment. Oh, oh, oh. Option 1 or still option 2? Still number 2? Okay. Okay. I hear you. Still number 2? 5. Number 5 is not a choice, lady. Number 2? Number 2? Nope, still option 2. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, number 2. You still like number 2. That's fine, that's fine. We're going to do one more, because this is fun. And this is helping me get some of my sojo back. All right, are we ready for the new option? This is still 2. New option. There's your black. 1 or 2? Yeah, Tracy, I agree. One of them could be a binding. Lisa said we could use one of those we could use that for backing. I don't think I have enough of that to be backing. One or 2? 2. White, then the black. You guys are liking the black. I had to pull the black out I'm still seeing lots of 2s. Still the green. Still the green. Lots of 2s. Now you're just playing with us. You might be right. You might be right. I saw a lot of people saying black, but I do think this is the winner. I mean, that's just too doggone close, right? We're just gonna wait to make sure that I don't see a flood of 1s coming. Ooh, multicolored binding. That would be fun. What if we did a scrappy binding? I like that. Yeah, that's a great idea. You only have 1 green and 3 yellows. Yep. This will pull it together. Black is too stark. I agree. Free spirit. I agree. But you know, I had to throw you for that loop. I had to throw you for the loop. So this will be a 6.5-inch border all the way around. And this will be a thin 1-inch inner border. So I will cut some of these strips at 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to cut border at 6.5 inches, maybe a little less, we'll see. And then I'm going to cut binding out of this. I'm going to make it a scrappy binding, probably following the same pattern, the same flow that I have hanging up on the quilt behind me. So that was a lot of fun. 3 would make a good binding. The black? Oh, this would make a good binding? Maybe. But I like the idea of doing a scrappy binding. I'm going to do a scrappy binding on my continuum quilt. I saw the scrappy binding on Ian's continuum quilt, so I really want to do a scrappy binding. The thing is, though, the teal isn't the middle. There's 2 middle colors. Does that matter? Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't think it matters. what I was thinking, so if I slide out of the way for just a minute, if you look at it, there's a little bit of symmetry going on, but not tons. So your eye is still kind of moving, looking for a bit of balance. So I've got pink on the top and the bottom, and then I've got yellow, and then I've got green, and then I've got this yellow and this dark green. Basically, what I'm trying to point out is every fabric in here has a complement somewhere else in the quilt. It's got a partner, except for this one. This one doesn't. And I could have just taken this out of the quilt entirely. Like if I would have taken that out entirely, let's see, then I would have had a completely different quilt, right? Like I'm hiding it now. I would have had a completely different quilt. It still would have been pretty, but I kind of like what that bold stripe does in the middle. And the white stripe really brings it together. I don't know that I would have loved it as much had the white stripe not been there. So. Gen X Quilt Co says, it was like being at the eye doctor, which is clear, 1 or 2. 1 or 2. That's what I was going for. I'm glad you caught it. The OCD in me was confused. She said, thank you for explaining it. I've got it now. Yeah, not a problem. Once you, like, I see the partnered colors. So if I didn't do, and this could be cool too, if I didn't do the white inner border and I just went straight out to this, it would look, if I hold it up here, do you see how it looks like the middle of the quilt will just kind of bleed into this? That could be a cool effect too. But what I really want to highlight is I like that strip set. So I want to kind of finish it out by doing that. Yeah. Jan says, next time you do a long arm sampler, do individual fat quarters size. Also do them on muslin. My long armer has done this and they are so helpful for when picking out a pattern for my quilts. Yes. So a couple of things there. First, I do have it in my mind that I would like to do a it's difficult to have a long arm sampler that has every possible thing that I could ever stitch. However, it would be really cool to have just like quilts that you could come in and look at. So I don't know if I will ever create a full sampler quilt of all of my favorite stitches or all of the stitches. I might do some sampler quilts of my favorite stitches. I have toyed with the idea of just doing like great big, like 15-inch by 15-inch blocks and sewing them together, or 12-inch by 12-inch blocks of solid color fabric so that I could just stitch out block designs. And I will probably do that in the near future. But the other thing that I want to do is I have created a lookbook. Let me see if I can get this for you and show you while the raffle's still going. I have been buying pantographs for the long arm. I got a $500 credit from Pro Stitcher. So I got a ton of pantographs just for free with my $500 gift credit from Pro Stitcher. But I have also been buying some pantographs from, from some other websites as well. And every time I buy a pantograph, I actually printed one more off because I'm stitching this on a quilt that's on the long arm right now. Every time I buy a pantograph, I'm putting it in what I'm calling a lookbook. And so most of the time when you buy a pantograph, you get a PDF that shows you what that stitch looks like. Sometimes it's just what the one stitch, the one pantograph by itself looks like. Sometimes it's that plus what it looks like when it's quilted out. And sometimes it's just what it looks like when it's all quilted out. Just depends on who you're buying it from. So let me show you what my lookbook looks like so you can kind of understand what I'm doing. And then this will make a little bit more sense for you too. So this one still has to go into a sheet protector, but inside of the sheet protectors, inside of here, I have all these sheet protectors that show me all of my pantographs. And this is an example of a design where they show you what the one stitch looks like and then what it looks like all fully quilted out. And then I did dive into the world of graffiti quilting from Carly Porter. She's got this awesome graffiti quilting look, but she sells her graffiti quilting pantos as modular designs, so you can plug and play them in with each other. So I'm going to zoom in a bit more so you can see this in more detail. And then we're going to drag you so that you're onto the book. There we go. That should be a little bit better. So I have got all 16 of her graffiti quilting modular designs. And so this is what 1 through 8 all look like together if you snug them all up. This is number 1. This is number 2, number 3, number 4. I'm just going to flip through these while the giveaway is still going. M. Smith says, the quilter I use has this as well, and it's so helpful. This is what I'm using for my lookbook right now, but I do have in my head, it would be really cool if for each of these designs, I did a small mini quilt the size of a sheet of paper and put it in behind here so I could be like, oh, okay, that's what it looks like drawn. That's what it looks like stitched. You know what I mean? Suzanne says, wow, that's way too busy. This is something that people may love, and it's also something that people may not love. So these are designs that I have kind of fallen in love with, but you may not. And when we get through the graffiti quilting, which this is the last one, you'll start to see some designs that might be a little less busy for your liking. The neat thing about Pro Stitcher is I can tailor the size of these. I can skew them, I can stretch them, I can just keep the aspect and make them bigger, make them smaller. I can change how tightly they're lined in so they can look a little different for me. Kathy said, my eyes are bouncing. Those are really busy, but they look really good when they're stitched out. They look really good when they're stitched out. And then we've got this one that has some hearts on it. Here's another folk art. I'm just going to flip slowly while we're waiting for the giveaway to finish. I've already done this one. I love it. I did it on a jelly roll race that I did with Hummingbird Lane. It was a batik line. This is the jelly roll that I did with my mom, the jelly roll race that I did with my mom a couple of years ago on a live stream. I've quilted it, and I quilted it with this pattern. I love the way it turned out. Oh, it's closed. We're going to pick our... Yes, I can scale them. Absolutely. Thanks, Day. She said, look at you go, Becca. I've gotten, like, I'm just there. These are little yarns. I thought that was fun. I'm just going to, so question for all you Juki owners. Can you use the Schmitz needles in the Juki? I do not, but I've heard you can. Congrats, Val. Val Martinez West is my second giveaway winner. That's awesome. All right, I'm going to flip a little bit faster because it's 10 o'clock and I want to try my oatmeal bread. Mary, I got a Mickey and Minnie one. I will say the interesting thing about how these end up coming together is sometimes you'll see this and you're like, oh, I want that. But then when you put it in and you tile it in, it looks completely different. So like there was one in here, right here, where when you put it in together, it ends up just looking like, I don't know, you just see like cathedral windows when it's stitched out. Made by Misty says she likes the puzzle piece. That was cool. Yes. This will end up looking like cross hatching. I did this one on my, Continuum. I did this on my Continuum quilt. This is another one where you think it would look different, but then when you tile it out and you put it all over the quilt, it comes out looking completely different. And I'm starting to get a feel for, okay, that's not going to look the way I think it will. Did I do that one? No, I did this one on my puzzle mystery quilt, my Tree of Life. Once I get all those quilts bound, I'm thinking I'm going to save it for December. I want to do a trunk show of all the quilts that I finished. So stay tuned for that. Are you still going to? Yes, I will, Katie. I'll go to Facebook in a moment. Let me just finish flipping through these patterns. Don't forget to post your pictures to the Facebook group. I'll go over to the group in a moment. I'm really loving my designs from the quilting mill. Obviously, you can see I've got several of hers. And that's a repeat. I got flamingos because I have a friend that loves flamingos, and I was like, well, I'll probably make something for her. This is another one that doesn't stitch out the way you think it is. I used this, and by the way, you can flip and rotate and mirror. So when I used this, it doesn't look like this because my next row down here, I mirrored it over, and so I've kind of got like these brackets instead of this design. That was fun. Oh, no, I didn't delete Facebook. I unfriended everybody on Facebook, and I'm only using it for groups, and that's it. Nothing else. I don't use the Facebook profile thing. The group is still there, still very active, and I will show that off tonight. But my personal profile has no friends on it because I don't want to use Facebook for the news feed. I don't want to see people's... The groups feel safe to me because there's no politics, there's no hate, there's no nothing. But the news feed is overrun with all sorts of controversial stuff all the time, and I'm just over it. I'm just done with it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to read it. I don't want to read it if I agree with you. I don't want to read it if I disagree with you. And I don't care if we agree or disagree. You're entitled to your own opinion. What I really don't like is how hateful people are getting. They're just downright hateful. And I don't want to see that. So I don't have to subject myself to the hate speech, and I don't have to see it. So ignorance is bliss. All right, let's go over to the Facebook group, which I still do plenty of. I just don't have friends on Facebook. But you know, honestly, when I think about it, if we're connected in real life, if I have your phone number, if we're talking through Messenger, if we're hanging out here on a live stream, if we're in a Facebook group together, then we don't need to have the friend connection on Facebook, because in reality, I wasn't posting anything to my Facebook profile anyway. So it's fine. All right, let's, I guess all I'm trying to say is my act of unfriending everybody is not a reflection on anyone at all. Nobody did anything wrong. It was more just a way to keep the chaos and the hatefulness and the divide out of my life. I don't want to see it. Ignorance is bliss to some degree, I guess, is the best way to say it. Like, I'm just so tired of everybody hating one another. I don't want to hear it anymore. We're never going to be able to heal if we can't come... Listen, whatever. Okay, we're done. We're done. We're done. Let me go to the Facebook screen share and make sure that I've got it here. Show and tell. No, that's the wrong thing. It is pulling up YouTube. Let's have it pull up Google Chrome, because Google Chrome is there. There we go. Yay! And let me just pull this over here so that I can see the chat while we're doing this, because otherwise I feel like I'm missing out. Yep, that's it. Jen X just said the right thing. She said, good for you. I basically stopped interacting. I stopped interacting last time, I stopped interacting a while ago. And I was like, okay, that's going to be good enough. And then this time around, I was like, well, I'm not interacting with anybody in that way anyway, so why do I need it? Goodbye. Anyway. Fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows. If you want to join the group, !Facebook in the live chat, we'll get you a link over there. You can click on that and request to join. We'll add you in and you'll be able to share your pictures. So let's get to seeing what you guys have been working on this week. I'm going to go to new posts. All right, so Holly is up first. She said she started making a scrap Christmas card. She saw a tutorial on YouTube for this last week. It's glued and stitched down, and then it's making it into a card. Yvette Hartso says she found this pattern on Pinterest. She's using some charm packs and yardage that she got at So Yeah at last year's retreat. I love it. It looks great. Carla says she just finished this tonight, Pat Sloan's free sew-along called National Parks. She decided to make her first Christmas quilt. I love that. Why do I feel like I never have anything genuine to say? I'm just like, oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Let's zoom in so you guys can see me. There we go. We'll pull this up here. Susie Lopez says this is a baby tummy time map and burp cloths. Misty Simmons, oh Misty, I love this. She said, here's my latest. I'm going to do one more 4-block with a star for the back with another rainbow color, and I can't wait to finish and get it quilted. Oh, I love this. Oh no, is it Pooja? I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. But they finished the binding on this while watching the live tonight, and she's trying to get all the Christmas presents done in time this year. I love that. Andrea says, I finished my wall hanging gift that I designed for Donna. As soon as my labels get here, it will be on its way to her. That's so cute. She loves those squirrels too. That's going to be great. I can see that hanging behind her. Andrew says, this week, I learned FPP thanks to Becca's video tutorial. Yay! I'm glad. He said, this is going to be an exterior pocket of a backpack I'm making. Sneak peek in the background. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it this weekend. Andrew, I can't wait to see what that looks like when it's done. Also, where did you get that pattern? You'll have to post it, leave a comment to the link where you found that pattern for that machine, because that looks just like Ian's Bernina machine, and I bet he would love that. Eve says she just finished this top today. This was a free pattern from Moda called Sunshine. She'll be gifting this to a friend and his wife. That would be a great way to use some t-shirt material to make a t-shirt quilt, to actually make them look like shirts. Oh my goodness, those flowers. That looks like fabric I've seen before. Where have I seen that fabric before? I don't know. But Deb has made 2 duffel bags for her great-granddaughters for Christmas. I feel like I've seen that fabric somewhere. Sandra is working on Payday by Annie, and it's not perfect, but the next one she will do will be better. Wish me luck, you guys. When Mary gets here, Ian, Mary, and I are going to take some time out to actually work on a by Annie bag, and I am nervous, but also very excited. Katie says that she's doing her prairie flower seed mini quilt along using all batiks. And this is also Moda Blockheads 3 Love Block in the center. She's currently quilting it. It's not too long and it'll be ready for binding. And Jess of So Blessed with Jess joined her in this little sew along. Love it. Also, 5 months of the Modern Maker Cotton Cuts Color Challenge blocks from Katie in Greenland. Anna Marie Horner, Misty is saying that fabric. Okay. Here's a Scrappy strip block churn dash style via Eric teaching us how to do it. I like it. I like that orange, actually. I can't believe I just said that. Holy cow, Katie, you've been busy. Are these the blocks for the squirrel sew along that Donna's doing? Yep. Block of the week with Donna from Handmade by Ying. So these are the blocks that I guess Donna's doing. I don't guess. I know she's doing them. I like your fabric choices. Shelby Eaton is feeling happy. She says, these are blocks from a new quilt, Echinacea. The fabric is Echinacea. Thank you so, Terry. Blocks from a new quilt that I designed using a traditional bear paw block. Fabric is from the November Fat Quarter Shop Hoffman Petite Club Autumn Sunsets. I usually favor blue, purple, and green, but something about the rich, saturated colors appealed to me. Maybe it's all the fall colors we have outside right now. 8 additional blocks will feature different fall colors, and all the claws will be gold. I did manage to sneak in some blue into the paw centers. Holly is saying that her sewing mojo is seriously lacking this week. Hello. But she's teaching a rectangular jelly roll rug workshop at her guild's sew day next week. So she's having to prep her samples. She has never taught anything, and definitely feels intimidated by it, but they asked, so she agreed. Wish me luck. I have to dig out my old, aka more portable, machine to make sure it is good to sew. Flaky Chicky said, just overshared on Facebook. Sorry. No problem. We'll get to it in just a minute. Oh my goodness. This is Katie's finished Sugary Dew Bernina quilt along. I love it. She gifted me the book for this sew along, and I haven't done it, but I do have the book, and it's something that I'll think about later. Andrea designed this pattern, and Katie did a test for her. This is called Modern Tumbling Blocks. If you want to pick it up, I'm sure Andrea or somebody can link to the pattern in the comment for that photo in the Facebook group. Kathy Nelson says, I just finished a top. I call her Greenie. It is a gift that my sis is going to give a friend. My sis doesn't sew, and she asks if I would sew for her. Pattern is called Jelly Sticks. I did add a piece border to make it the size she wanted. I also finished a Christmas table runner for my sister. I just have to finish it. I love that. Oh, hey, Melissa. She said, finished this lap quilt for my veteran neighbor this week. I made the pattern up myself. It's finished at 39 by 46. Such a cute pinwheel quilt. Janine says, I just took the Scrappy Jelly Roll Race off of the long arm tonight. Way to go. Blue and yellow. Terry says, I made another Elephant Abstractions, number 3. I quilted it on a domestic vintage machine, a Singer 201. I love doing this pattern, and I really enjoy FPP. I stuffed the tusks on my elephants to give it some extra dimension. That's cool. Mariah says, I made a small quilt of New Hampshire for our local Holly Berry Festival next week, and I'm working on binding tonight. Oh, okay. Pat saying, Becca, for the Biani bags, the best tip I've seen is to use the fold over elastic for binding the seams. Thank you. Lori says, for my mama, I just have to border and bind. It was my first quilt as you go. Roberta says this is a Bargello bag. Interesting part is the way the strips were cut. The pattern continues in the inside, tube style. Susan worked on her Wild West puzzle mystery quilt. Is trying to get caught up. Barbara is doing a little embroidery this week. She's got some gnomes playing with some sewing machines. Karen Huff is working with some batiks and some cafe and working at the long arm. Wow, you guys have been busy. I love this. Carrie is doing a Tulip Pink Spider Blossom in the center. She got it quilted and ready to bind, and she's been working on it here and on Sundays with Ian. Oh, I can't wait to see that fully finished. Belinda says this is a work in progress. She's making a bookshelf quilt. Jennifer Turney said, oh my gosh. Hi, I love this. She said she used some scrap Tula to make a True V bag by Knot and Thread Designs, and she's working on a second for a friend. Is that friend me? Oh, I love it. I love it. I have to get that pattern. I like the shape of the bag. Susan says, I finally opened up my Juki that I bought last June. It got unburied last week when the movers took out most of my already packed boxes. Yay, welcome to the land of the Juki. And we got a new member request. Let's approve Rachel and get her in so she can share what she's been working on. Judy says, I made a By Annie bag, take a stand, zipper and binding and that are needed, and then it will be done. Stephanie Fulton says, my husband has started sewing. Now I have to share my machine. Guess what he's getting for Christmas? He says we need a design wall and 2 sewing rooms now. Jennifer, I see your comment. Stephanie Fulton says, leaders and enders finally finished 105 by 105 and 3,136 2-inch squares. Oh, my goodness. Amanda says, Ripple Blossom blocks are done and I'm working on getting it all together. That's going to look neat when it's all put together. Amanda is working on her Elizabeth Hartman top. It is all finished. She does need to get a better picture, but this was just making sure all of her seams were good. Is that the Fanciful Forest one? Also, I like your rug. Mary says, I miss you and I cannot wait to see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow, maybe today. I'm excited. Gail Pickering says, Emerald City next. She's working on the Wizard of Oz quilt from Art East. Jenny says that she is working on a Coriotor Christmas sheep this evening. Oh, that would make a cool block to make into a quilt pillow. Ooh, I like that. Amanda says, this is my pretty quilt. It's for sale for my Makerspace fundraiser. Put a link in the comments on that post so people can find out where they can buy it if they want it. Clint says, speaking of piano keyboarders, working on adding one to my interwoven quilt. The mitered corners are tough. Yeah, I could see why they would be. Also, I would not have thought for this one to do a piano key border because of all the lines that are happening on the inside, but it works. And I think it works because of that white inner border. And now you are making me second guess whether I should do a piano key border on mine. I don't think so though. I think we're going to go with what I've already decided. Michelle says, I'm catching up on my Symphony Block of the Month quilt that will finish in December. It's a pretty block. And then we're back to the beginning. Let me refresh and see if anything new came in. Oh, we got a couple more member requests. Let's get you guys in here. Go back to new posts. Rachel says, thanks for the quick ad. I am using copies of already made stockings as an FPP pattern to make coordinating stockings for 3 kids. Nicely done. Valerie made a noodle head backpack for a trip to London next month. The fabric was purchased the last time she went 2 years ago. She got some Liberty fabric. Oh, so great. Enjoy your time in London.
Tracy, Queen is snuggled up watching the live stream and working on some wildflowers. I need to try more hand embroidery because I do like it. And now that I'm doing hand sewing and not hating it, I bet I will fall in love with it. I just feel like that's going to be something I'm going to fall in love with. I got a drawer full of little embroidery designs that I've collected. They're kits, and I just need to pull them out and work on them. All right, so that's it. We'll just refresh one more time, make sure I didn't miss anything coming in. Thanks, Andrew. He said he added how to get the FPP Bernina block in the comments on his photo if you want it. Yeah, I'll be going to get that. So, anywho's a mabob. It's been real. It's been fun. It might have even been real fun. Thank you, friends, for hanging out with me tonight. I'm going to go in the other room and try that oatmeal honey bread because I'm sure it's going to be delicious. And yeah, y'all have a great time. Do something fun this weekend. Be creative. Get your sojo going. And I'll see you guys all next week. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.